Hi, I'd like to talk about something that I call melody expansion. And this is something that is good for writer's block, or if you're just generally looking for a different kind of inspiration, a different approach to songwriting. And the idea is to start simple and uh, make a melody more and more sophisticated or complex, depending on the outcome you want to achieve.
All right, let's have another look at the riff I was playing a second ago. That's an example of an idea that started simple that I built on. And it started with two power chords, one here on the A string and one on the G string, 5th fret and 3rd fret. So it started simple. Now here's a melodic idea. I mean, if that chord progression that I just played works for whatever you're doing, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you think it's a little dry and needs a little more color, try replacing some of the beats in the riff with notes in the same key. Like watch, I'm going to add in 2 notes, one from the 2nd fret to the 4th fret on the G string. So it'll sound like this. You can already tell that sounds that's starting to sound a little more interesting. Now, what we can also do is expand on the 2nd chord a little bit. Okay, we can do some sliding into other chords. So here's an idea I'm going to show you where we go from the 3rd fret to the 7th fret. We're going to slide up. Here's how it's going to sound. So it's the same concept. We're replacing beats in the original riff with other chords and notes in the same key. So here's another idea that we can do with the 2nd chord if we want to expand on the 2nd chord. So instead of just coming up here and stopping there, we can do this. Slide back down to 5 like this. Okay, so here's what it might sound like so far. Okay, so here's one more idea I want to show you with the 1st chord. Instead of just starting on the power chord, we're going to slide into it from 1 fret below, like this. And the idea is that we're replacing beats in the original riff. So okay, I'd like to share one more melodic idea with you. And this idea has to do with using dissonant notes. Now, the key that we're using for this song is the key of G. Now, when we use notes outside of the key of G, we're said to be using dissonant notes. Now, using dissonant notes in a song is good for creating tension in the song that you're working on. Now, adding tension to your music is a good way to keep your listeners interested. If a song becomes too predictable, people could, sometimes it becomes a little uninteresting. People might not want to listen. So this idea of using dissonant notes, we're going to add on one more part to the song that we're working on. And the idea is to use notes or chords outside the key and resolve those notes or chords back into the key. And when you resolve back into the key, it tends to create a pleasant sound. So you use dissonant notes and you resolve it. Now, the resolving part is important, because if you don't resolve it, it might sound unpleasant depending on what you're doing. And so this concept of tension and resolution that I'm going to show you right now, I'm going to do it with the same two chords that we were doing for the riff. And for the chords outside of the key, we're going to use the same chords, except we're going to flat the top note. So instead of the power chord, we're going to flatten the top note. See the difference? That top note is out of key. It's outside the key that we're using. And we're going to do the same thing with the other chord down here that we're using. Instead of doing a regular power chord, we're going to flatten the top note. Now, when we start the riff, we're going to start it with the out of key chord like this, and then we're going to resolve it back into the regular chord like this. And here's what the song might sound. So you hear it all in context. Here's how the song should sound with the change added on. See, doesn't that sound so much nicer than if we were to just do something like that for the change? So there you go. If you have any questions, please contact me.